ability. I think what's important in a statistics and math setting is this feature here in which the TI calculator is displayed. I mean, that's a sort of a big thing for us in mathematics and those who teach statistics is sort of a headache to have to go in and show everybody how to use their calculator, even though we have a course in doing so. So if I can sort of demonstrate to people what they need to do on a calculator, they can hopefully minimize the sort of mystery of what they have to do. Most people do use the TI calculators, but I think this is a very important feature of the multimedia, which is being able to write on something and demonstrate the calculator. I don't know, physics as well, you can probably imagine. So this is sort of, for me, the best part of it, because up until this point, this is, for the most part, a sort of PowerPoint-ish sort of thing that just got converted to like QuickTime. But using this portion of it, I think, is sort of a little different and adds to the, the degree of effectiveness to a multimedia in terms of math, at least. And so there's also topics that are somewhat interesting, Titanic survivors and going through a lot of sort of detail. But this is one way and one approach, and this actually is a very, very time-consuming approach. It takes a lot of time to create 1 hour, and we'll talk more about that. But there's other ways of going about this, which is also nice too, that aren't so time-consuming. And this is sort of the standard way of going about it, which I have here.
This and this will give you
was Viking.
Exactly the same. So whether you like to do it this way or this way, you can kind of play around with that and see which way you like.
And what we've sort of learned with this
is going to be the x component of the, you could use the 20 degrees.
Is that, at least my personal feeling is that the contrast between the chalkboard and chalk seem to work well. They seem to work really well. And so you can capture lectures. So again, students could go back and review, and it doesn't matter even, I think, maybe in a statistics setting or even a math setting, even if a student misses a lecture, you can use this over and over again. It's not dependent upon a semester. So this is sort of what we've done. We also have Anne, again, she's done her for her distance learning courses.
We will solve this inequality. Remember, with inequality, the answers is not just one number or two numbers, but there are infinitely many solutions. So most likely, we will need to solve and then graph. Afterwards, we have to write down the solutions in set builder notation and also in interval notation, okay? Because this is an inequality. All right, now the first thing that we want to do is to combine like terms. So 8 plus 10y.
Okay, and so even if a student says, I just missed that part, I don't know what happened, I missed this, they can also go back and look at it again. And again, you can watch these sort of presentations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if a student can't sleep because they have a test, they can refer to something if they have internet access. I mean, I don't know, I've as students, I guess sometimes we forget, that sometimes, in the middle of the night we would study and we would go back and we'd look at some things. And so I think this should be at least beneficial to students in the long run because there is some extra information. And again, this isn't really, this isn't really to some degree anything new, but it is sort of new for us. Now, I'll point out some sort of, we'll look at iTunes a little sort of soon. This is the UCLA representative.
And we're going to talk about the application as well as the personal statement in this. I usually don't do it, the personal statement, unless I do something about that.
And I didn't view this personally, but again, there's a lot of information. So again, hopefully students will take advantage of it if they miss that, that workshop. Now, the delivery system, we'll talk a little bit more about the delivery system. That is actually what we created. So if there's anybody have any questions on the creation of this, I guess maybe we can ask now, or I can continue and talk a little more about some of the delivery. Yeah.
What did you use to create this?
Okay, yeah, we'll talk more about it. Anybody have any other questions? Because we'll get into some more detail of that. We'll get into a lot of detail.
You're going to talk about the streaming part now.
Well, we'll talk about some of the delivery in general. But if you'd like to talk about some of the detail, I'm going to go into some of the detail of how it was created and where it can go. So yeah, well, okay, the multimedia delivery, again, we use an Apple QuickTime streaming server that is maintained by IT. Some other alternative methods of delivery, because, I guess I should say this, what IT has done is what they've done is taken the files that I've presented them and put it on the server. It's not really being streamed. Technically, it's not streamed. It's called progressive download. So, okay, if you're going to do progressive download, well, then I could do that myself. And I could do that and I have done it via iWeb, a special account that I pay about $100 or less now, $60, $80 a year, that I can host my own website and post multimedia very cheaply and very easily. I can manage and maintain myself. So for a cost like between $60 and $80 a year, I can do this and place what's called progressive download files. So again, it's not being streamed. Technically, it's supposed to be streamed. I believe there's supposed to be a better quality picture when you stream, but it was set up and it's progressive download at the moment. And if that's the way it's going to be done, it wasn't written that way, but if that's what we're going to get, then we can sort of do this ourselves. And that's and that's interesting because again, the technology has surpassed the sort of limitations that were sort of imposed on us. And there's a lot of web hosting services that you can do this. You can upload video files to without having to go to IT. Again, if they're not going to stream and just do progressive download, well, we can do that. In fact, another alternative delivery system is iTunes University, and I'll go into more details with that. That's not streaming or progressive download. That's simply downloading a file and opening it, playing it in the iTunes sort of application where it's a free application to anyone, actually. It's free for PC or for Windows or for Apple. So it's a free program that you download and you can view video files, actually audio files as well. It's free, it's cross-platform, and it's actually a little better quality, at least on the Mac, than actually a progressive download. So there is alternatives to delivering this multimedia. We're not sort of locked into anything, which I think is good. We should have, formally, our school should actually support everything that we do, which they say they are, but sometimes it takes time. So I'm sort of I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I get impatient, I can't wait I can't stay motivated for 2 or 3 months on a project hoping that it actually gets up there one day. To me, it just puts cold water on, anything you're doing. Because this stuff, when you do it and you work on it, you're working late at night, you get ideas, you're tinkering, and, it could, if it's not going to happen in 2 or 3 months, you're not going to do it. So I think it's important that these alternatives actually exist because it's sort of a pressure release of what can actually happen here on campus. It's, and for me, it's been very helpful. Very therapeutic to actually have alternatives. Of course, there's also YouTube. However, YouTube has actually recently put a restriction in time. They don't want anything longer than 10 minutes. You can truncate it where you can have multiple segments, but that's sort of a recent requirement of YouTube. But there are other video streaming websites that we can even look into to possibly even put some of this stuff up. So even if you said, I'm not going to do a progressive download, I want to post it on YouTube or some other sort of website, they exist. I see them all the time. I don't know about any of you, I get email from